The beach. It's been a while since we went here, senpai. Mashu yelled happily and excitedly while looking at the beach in front of her. I know, Mashu. When was the last time we went to the beach? Ritsuka asked. I don't know. Maybe last year, before Shiro-san arrived here? Maybe. Anyways, wonder what's Shiro up to. He's unloading the beach supplies along with the other servants. Speaking of which, there he is. And it was then that Shiro appeared with a bunch of beach supplies. Right now, it was the season of summer and Ritsuka and Mashu were on vacation after a few days of hard work finishing missions and maintaining Chaldea under the orders of Da Vinci. As Ritsuka and Mashu were coming over to where Shiro was, they saw him unloading some beach supplies. Shiro. HM? Oh, master, enjoying the view? Shiro asked. Yes. Need some help carrying those supplies? Ritsuka replied. No. I can handle this. Are you sure, Shiro-san? Mashu asked. Yeah. Anyways, are we okay doing this? I mean, taking a vacation right now of all times, Shiro worryingly asked as he placed some beach supplies down. Relax. Chaldea gave me a 1-week all-expenses-paid trip to here, so there's no need to worry about that. In case if you were wondering, this isn't the first time I went on a vacation here. Plus, if even anything goes wrong at Chaldea, I've got teleport spells to transfer us back there instantly. Is that so? Yeah. I've done this multiple times, so there's no worry. Spending time on the vacation or using the transporting spells? The former. I see. Well, in that case, I hope you enjoy your vacation, master. You too, Mashu, Shiro said with a smile on his face. Yeah. You too, Shiro-san. Mashu said. Soon, Ritsuka and Mashu left for the beach, leaving Shiro alone with the beach supplies as he set them up. 7 days, huh? Hopefully, nothing disastrous will happen within these 7 days. Shiro was at the beach, looking at the waves as the sound of water splashing towards the sand calmed his mind. The beach, huh? It's been a while since I've been there, speaking of which, I don't even remember the last time I've been here. Shiro, a voice called out. Shiro turned around to see where the voice came from. As he did, it was Arturia who was coming over to him with a beach volleyball in her hands. Arturia? Shiro, what are you doing? HM? Just looking at the waves. Why? Oh, nothing. I just wanted to know. Anyways, do you want to play beach volleyball with me and my counterparts? Shiro thought about Arturia's request and said, yes. Arturia's face brightened upon hearing Shiro saying yes. Great. Follow me then. Shiro soon got off from the beach cloth he was sitting on and followed Arturia to where her counterparts were. As they arrived, they were all waiting at a beach volleyball setup they made earlier. You're finally here, Shiro, Arturia Alter said. Where were you? Arturia Lily asked. Yeah. You shouldn't keep your king waiting, Shiro, Lancer Arturia Alter said. Yeah, Lancer Arturia said. Well, either way, Shiro is here and that's all that matters, Ruler Arturia said. I suppose so. Archer Arturia said. Yeah, Writer Arturia Alter said. You're right about that, Santa Arturia Alter said. Anyways, Shiro is here so we can start playing now. Mysterious Heroine X said excitedly. Yeah. I can't wait to play beach volleyball with Shiro, Mysterious Heroine X Alter said. Me too. Mysterious Heroine XX exclaimed cheerfully. Shiro looked at the setup and asked Arturia, did all of you set this up? Yes, they replied. I see. So, who are the teams then? Well, here's the thing. We're still undecided yet, Arturia said. Shirou let out a sigh. Is that so? Then how about this? Shirou then projected a bowl along with 13 strips of paper. 6 of them have blue on the end while the other 6 had red on the end. We'll draw ballots, and whoever gets a ballot will either be placed on red team or blue team. How does that work? Arturia and her counterparts nodded in agreement. Good. Alright, now we need to pull the ballots then, Shirou said as he put the ballots into the bowl. Shirou, Arturia, and her counterparts then drew the ballots from the bowl. As they all did, the teams were decided. On the red team was Shirou, Arturia Alter, Arturia Lily, Lancer Arturia, and Mysterious Heroine XX. On the blue team was Lancer Arturia Alter, Archer Arturia, Rider Arturia Alter, Santa Arturia Alter, Ruler Arturia, Mysterious Heroine X, and Mysterious Heroine X Alter. Alright, is everyone ready? Arturia said as she had the ball in his hand. Yes, they replied. Hold on. Give me a moment, Shirou said. Shirou then took off the jacket he was wearing, revealing his toned body, and defined ABS. It was then that Arturia and her counterparts blushed upon seeing his abs. HM? Is there something wrong? Shirou asked. It's nothing. Arturia and her counterparts said. Shirou shrugged. Okay. Let the game begin. Alright, here I go. Shirou said as he served the ball towards the other side. As the ball flew to the other side of the court, Archer Arturia served it back, heading towards to where Lancer Arturia was. Lancer Arturia then served it back to the other side, but Lancer Arturia Alter blocked her shot, shooting it towards to an empty space. At that moment, the blue team was up by 1 point. TCH. Arturia Alter said as she picked up the ball and handed it towards Mysterious Heroine X, who was serving. Mysterious Heroine X then served the ball to Shirou, who blocked it and hit it up high. It was then that Lancer Arturia spiked the ball with a hint of mana in the spike really hard, and it headed towards right next to where Archer Arturia was. Hey! Archer Arturia said. Are we even allowed to do that? Lancer Arturia smirked as it was time for the red team's counterattack. Hey! All's fair in love and war. Why you? Mysterious Heroine X muttered. Well, if that's the case, then we should do the same then, Ruler Arturia said. I agree. Let's fight back then, Santa Arturia Alter said. Soon, the red team and blue team were serving and hitting the ball at each other, each of them not budging, and each team scored a point whenever they can. As time went on, the competition was getting intense to the point where the ball just looked like a blur passing through both sides. Eventually, both teams were tied with 14 points each. Well, this isn't any beach volleyball match like I've ever seen before. Shirou thought. Shirou! Arturia yelled, snapping him out of his thoughts as he noticed that the ball was coming towards him. Shirou then blocked the ball and hit it upwards. It was then that Arturia decided to spike the ball into the ground. However, it was then that Rider Arturia Alter hit the ball upwards, in which Santa Arturia Alter decided to jump and spiked it towards where Arturia was about to receive it. However, as she was about to receive it, she ended up bumping into Shirou, and both of them ended up falling backwards onto each other. Wah! Shirou! Look out! At that moment, everyone in the game went over to the area where they fell to check on them. As they did, they received a certain surprise. Ow, are you okay, Shirou? Arturia asked. Yeah. I think I'll be fine. Shirou replied. Well, that's fine, although Shirou. HM? What is it? Well, do you mind letting me go for a moment? As Arturia said that, Shirou then realized at the position he was in with Arturia. He was on top of her and his hands were grabbing hers. Shirou quickly let go of her hands. Oh. Sorry. And no problem. Arturia muttered. At that moment, Arturia's counterparts were jealous of Arturia. And they all had one thought in mind. Lucky. Wish that was me over there. In the end, there was only one winner, and it wasn't any of the teens. It was Saber Arturia herself. Emiya-kun, how long until it's fixed? Ishtar asked. Just give me a moment, Ishtar, Shirou replied as he was fixing the flashlight he was carrying. Well, please hurry. I want to find those gems right now. Rider Ishtar yelled out excitedly. Right now, Shirou, Ishtar, her rider self, and Ereshkigal were in a cave on a nearby island searching for a supposed treasure that came from rumors from the residents of the island they were currently on. While Shirou wasn't interested in the treasure, the rumors had to off, Ishtar and her rider self was interested. Why? Simple, the treasure was said to be a mountain of jewels, which happened to be Ishtar's, or rather, Rin's favorite thing in the entire world. Rumor or not, an opportunity for a mountain of free gems was something she was not going to waste. And how was Shirou and Ereshkigal was involved? Simple, the mountain of jewels was said to be hidden deep within the cave and they need a source of light. However, both Ishtars were running low on jewels. And they needed someone who they can know and trust to have some light. Thus, brings forth the situation Shirou was in right now. And Ereshkigal was here just to make sure the Ishtars don't cause any trouble. Sorry Emiya-kun, it looks like Ishtar and her counterpart seems to be eager finding that mountain of jewels, Ereshkigal said with a smile on her face. I can see that. Shirou said as he was finished fixing the flashlight he borrowed earlier. Right now, they were deep into the cave as Shirou shined the flashlight on the path they were going. Okay, seems to be fixed. Great. Now let's get going. Mountain of jewels, here I come. Archer Ishtar said excitedly. Hey! Don't you mean our mountain of jewels? Rider Ishtar asked. Shirou sighed as he looked at both Ishtars arguing at each other. It's like the old saying, the greatest enemy is yourself, come to life. He thought. Emiya-kun? Ereshkigal said, snapping Shirou out of his thoughts. HM? Oh, it's nothing. Eventually, Shirou, Ishtar and her counterpart, and Ereshkigal, continued walk deeper into the cave. As they did, they ended up seeing a fork in the road as the path was now split into two. HM? Which path should we take, Emiya-kun? Archer Ishtar asked. HM. Let's go left then. Shirou, Ishtar and her counterpart, and Ereshkigal then took the left path. However, as soon as they went left, the passage behind them was closed. What the heck? Archer Ishtar yelled. What's going on? Why did the passageway close behind us? Rider Ishtar yelled. Emiya-kun? Any idea what's going on here right now? Ereshkigal asked nervously. Honestly, I'm not sure, Shirou replied as he stepped forward. However, it was then that the ground beneath him cracked. What the dash? Soon the floor below him broke, revealing a giant hole, and he fell. Wah! Noticing this, Archer Ishtar quickly dropped into the hole and caught Shirou while floating in the air. Emiya-kun, are you okay? Why yeah. Thanks for saving me, Ishtar. I would have been a goner if it wasn't of you, Shirou replied. Ishtar blushed upon hearing Shirou's compliment. Why you idiot? Don't get the wrong idea. I'm just making sure you don't die on me, she said as she was carrying him back up from the hole. Anyways, let's find the mountain of jewels. She then dropped him as they managed to get back to the other side of the path. Is Emiya-kun okay? Rider Ishtar and Ereshkigal asked. Yeah. He's going to be fine. Both servants let out a sigh of relief. It was then that Rider Ishtar and Ereshkigal then started floating to where Archer Ishtar and Shirou were. "Well then, shall we continue?" Rider Ishtar asked. "Obviously," Archer Ishtar said. Soon, Shirou and the group continued walking. As they continued walking, they eventually came across another fork in the road. Another fork in the road? This seems suspicious for some reason. "Let's go right this time," Ishtar said. Shirou, Rider Ishtar, and Ereshkigal followed Archer Ishtar's orders and went right, hoping nothing bad would happen. However, as if Shirou's earink luck would have it, the passageway behind them closed like before. "Ah, come on! Not again!" Archer Ishtar yelled. "Great! What's going to happen next?" Rider Ishtar asked. "Oh boy! This can't be good," Ereshkigal muttered. "I've got a bad feeling about this," Shirou said. It was then that a sound was heard in the distance. As they turned to see what the source of the sound was, it was then that a giant boulder suddenly appeared in front of them and was rolling towards them. "What the heck? Where did that come from?" Ishtar and her counterparts yelled. Shirou then traced his bow and a simple sword and shot the boulder, blowing it up into tiny pieces. "Everyone all right?" Shirou asked. "Why yeah," Ishtar and her counterparts said. Shirou let out a sigh of relief. "Shall we move on then?" "Obviously," Archer Ishtar and Rider Ishtar yelled out as they started to walk ahead of Shirou and Ereshkigal. Shirou and Ereshkigal then followed them. As they did, Shirou had one thought in mind. "Okay. This looks and feels way too familiar, like it's some sort of dungeon game or movie." Eventually, Shirou, Ishtar, and her counterparts reached to the end of the path where they were walking. As they did, what they saw shocked them, especially the Ishtars. It was a room filled with a pile of jewels. Yes. A mountain of jewels. Archer Ishtar yelled in excitement. "All right. Looks like the rumors were true. Although we didn't expect the traps, but who cares?" Rider Ishtar yelled in excitement. Soon, both Ishtars started ransacking the room, taking every jewel they can find. Shirou and Ereshkigal let out a sigh as they saw the scene in front of them. "Well, guess that ended well, huh?" Ereshkigal said. "Yeah. Although we did not expect the traps in the cave and the forks in the road," Shirou replied. "That too. Well, at least nobody didn't get hurt. Imagine what would happen if we brought Astria over." Shirou laughed nervously as he imagined what would happen if they brought Astria over. Yeah, they would probably fight each other. Eventually, both Ishtars were done gathering all the jewels in the room. "Okay, we got all of the jewels here. Now we can leave the cave," Archer Ishtar said. "Yeah. I can't wait to see the look on Astria's face when she sees that we found a bunch of jewels right now," Rider Ishtar said. However, it was at that moment that the ceiling above them started to crumble. "What the? Oh no, the ceiling above us is about to crumble. Eh? What do we do?" Shirou quickly looked around the room for an exit. "Quick, let's go back using the path we came from," he yelled and started to run. Ishtar and her counterparts soon followed Shirou and went back on the path they were on. During the running, the entire cave itself started collapsing on itself. Shirou had to go through the sealed passageways they came from eventually. They were close to the entrance where they came from. "There's the exit," Shirou yelled. Ishtar and her counterparts were relieved that the exit was close. However, as they arrived, there was one problem that was in front of them. The giant hole Shirou nearly fell into. "Great, there's the giant hole I fell into. What should we do?" However, in an instant, Rider Ishtar suddenly grabbed Shirou's arm. Ishtar? Emiya-kun, hold on, she said as she jumped over the hole while floating at the same time. As they did, they reached to the exit. Are you alright? Why yeah. Rider Ishtar let out a sigh. Everyone, hurry. Archer Ishtar and Ereshkigal then did the same as Rider Ishtar and flew over the hole as well. They all then arrived outside the entrance of the cave as the cave was filled in. Overwhelmed with exhaustion, Shirou lay down on the ground. Is everyone okay? Shirou asked with huffs of breath. Why yeah. Archer Ishtar and Rider Ishtar moaned. Why yes. Looks like we all survived. Ereshkigal said. Shirou let out a sigh of relief. Well, that's good, he said before he passed out from the exhaustion. Ishtar and her counterparts let out a sigh of relief as they proceed to look at his sleeping face with a smile on their faces. Emiya-kun, you still haven't changed, although we need to find the sources and tell them there were traps later. In the end, Ishtar and her counterparts not only gained a mountain of jewels, but another unexpected treasure. Shirou's sleeping face. Shirou was swimming in the pool of the resort. As he did, he felt the water flowing through his body as he swam to the other side of the pool. Eventually, wanting some air, Shirou got out of the water to catch some breath for oxygen. As he did, some servants came into the pool as well. Senpai? Shirou turned around to see Parvati, BB, Passion Lip, Melt Lilith, and King Protea in swimsuits of various designs along with pool toys. Sakura? BB? Passion Lip? Melt Lilith? King Protea? What are all of you doing here? Shirou asked. Oh, we're here for a swim, senpai. BB said. Yeah. It's been a while since we did some swimming, so came here, Passion Lip said. Yeah. It would also be nice to get wet as well, Melt Lilith said. And to get relieved some of this heat, King Protea said. Surprising, didn't say anything. Not only that, but her face looked like she was scared of something. Is everything alright? You don't look so good. Immediately shook her head and replied, it's nothing. I am just not interested in this. Shirou was confused with Kama's overreaction to something as small as swimming. Anyways, do all of you want to join in? Yes. Parvati and BB and her sisters said. No thanks. I think I'll pass, said. Okay then. Soon, Parvati and BB and her sisters soon joined Shirou into the pool. As they did, they started playing in the water. Shirou and Parvati started swimming together while BB started spraying water at her sisters with a water gun she brought over. BB was laughing at the stunt she pulled off, until Passion Lip, Melt Lilith, and King Protea fought back by splashing a bunch of water on her, making her mad. Why you? BB yelled as she refilled her water gun. Get back here. Never. Passion Lip, Melt Lilith, and King Protea replied as they moved away from BB. Shirou and Parvati laughed at the sight in front of them as they took a break from swimming. As they did, they noticed Kama just looking at them. Is there something wrong with Kama today? She doesn't look so well. Her? Well, for some reason, when I told her that we were swimming today, she had a bad mood for the whole morning, senpai. Is that so? Yeah. I see. Do you want me to talk to her? I could try to sort her problem out if I can. Parvati let out a smile. Yes, senpai. Please do. Shirou then got out of the pool and went over to where Kama was sitting. As he arrived, Kama was sitting on a chair with a sour look on her face. Kama didn't say anything. Realizing that she can't ignore him anymore, Kama finally replied. What? Why do you look so grumpy right now? Kama scoffed. It's none of your business. Shirou sighed as he knew that Kama was a tough girl that rarely talks about her problems. Okay then, let me ask you this. Do you want to swim with Parvati and the others? For a moment, there was silence in the air. Then Kama said, no. Why? Because I don't want to. And why? Kama sighed as she knew she can't avoid saying the truth anymore. Especially after seeing Shirou's face. It's because I don't know how to swim. Shirou was surprised to hear this. Really? And that's why you don't want to swim with everyone else? Yeah. Shirou then thought about Kama's problem and said, well, do you want me to teach you how to swim? Kama immediately blushed. What? Teaching me how to swim? Yeah. And why would I do that? Well, you do want to swim with everyone else, right? Otherwise, why would you look so frustrated while looking at everyone else? Kama mentally groaned as she knew he was right. Deep inside, she wanted to swim with the others, but couldn't because of her inability to swim. Well, fine. Teach me how to swim. Kama grumbled. Shirou smiled. Follow me then. Kama then got out from her seat and then followed Shirou to the pool. Shirou then went into the pool with her getting into the water carefully. Kama-chan. Is everything okay? Parvati asked. Why yeah. She muttered. Shirou then went towards where Parvati was. Don't worry, she's nervous about swimming because she doesn't know how to. Oh. I see. Parvati whispered back with excitement. Yeah. So, I'm going to be teaching her how to swim. Is that okay with you? Parvati immediately smiled. Yes, senpai. Good. Now if you'll excuse me, I need to teach Kama how to swim. Shirou then went back to where Kama was waiting for him. Are you ready, Kama? Well, as I'll ever be. She muttered. Okay. Then hold my hands for a moment. Kama was surprised when Shirou said that. Hold your hands? What for? To help you balance when you're swimming. Is it really necessary? For beginners, that is. I see. Anyways, just help me, Kama said as she grabbed Shirou's arms. Alright. The first thing to do when swimming is trying to float on the water with your stomach. Floating on the water, that shouldn't be hard. She thought as she began to float on the water on her stomach. Okay. Then start kicking your legs while I move backwards. Can do that? I can do something like that. Okay then. Shirou then started to move backwards. Kama then did what Shirou asked her to do and kicked in the water. There we go. See? You're doing it. Kama blushed for a little bit. Shut up. Just keep moving. Okay. Now bring one arm out of the water so that it's reaching forward, then bring it back down and use your cupped hand to push the water behind you. Alternate arms. To breathe, turn your head to one side under the arm that's currently crawling, lifting enough for you to take a breath. Take a breath under the same arm each time so that you're breathing once every 2 strokes. Got it? Yeah. Okay then. Now try it. Kama then did what Shirou told her to do. At first, she had trouble, but over time, she got the hang of it. See? Isn't this easy? He's right. This isn't that bad. Shirou kept moving backwards and Kama continued kicking while stroking at the same time. As they were doing their routine, Parvati looked at the scene with a smile on her face while Bibi and her sisters looked at it jealously. Ah, Kama seems to get along with senpai. Parvati thought. No fair. I want to swim with senpai too. Bibi and her sisters thought. Okay. I'm going to let go of you now. Is that okay with you? Yeah. Shirou then let go of Kama's hands, and she started swimming all by herself. As she did, Shirou smiled as he managed to fix Kama's problem. However, there was one thing he did not expect. As in a moment, BB and her sisters came up behind him and splashed him in the face, making him turn around to see them with faces of jealously. What? Shirou. Senpai, swim with us now, BB and her sisters said. Shirou let out a small sigh. Huh. You can't beat me, Emiya. We'll see about that, Kuro. And the same goes for you, Miyu, Saitonai. I won't lose this match. Even if it's you that I have to go up against, Emiya. The same goes for me, Saitonai said. Shirou let out a small sigh as he saw Emiya, Kuro, Miyu, and Saitonai competing against each other in a sandcastle building contest. Just how did things come to this? A few minutes ago. What? The beach. It's been a while since we've been here. Emiya exclaimed happily and excitedly. Calm down, Emiya. You're getting too excited, Kuro said. Although Emiya has a point, it's been a while since we went to the beach, Miyu said. Yeah. But this time, we have Oniai-chan with us. Saitonai said. Now Emiya-chan, Kuro-chan, Miyu-chan, Saitonai-chan, make sure that you don't wander off here. That includes you, Shirou, and your counterparts as well. Yeah, Emiya said. We got that, Emiya Alter said as he, along with Emiya, was setting up the umbrellas and towels for the Emiya family to rest on. Good. Now, is there something you want to say, Kuritsugu? Kuritsugu was silent before saying, well, I don't know how to say this, but have fun everyone. Emiya and her counterparts along with Miyu said, yes. Shirou and his counterparts said, got it, old man. As the Emiya family finished setting up their area, Emiya and her counterparts along with Miyu, Shirou, Emiya, and Emiya Alter went up to the shore of the beach, playing with the water with each other. As they did, Kuritsugu and Irisville were watching the waves while Emiya, her counterparts, Miyu, Shirou, Emiya, and Emiya Alter were playing with each other. As they were playing with each other, Kuro then said something. Hey Emiya, let's have a sandcastle building contest between me, you, Miyu, and Saitonai. Eh? Why? Well, since we're at the beach, we might as well do this. But Kuro, don't you think this is a bit childish? Eh? Childish? But we are kids, you know? Or is it that you're scared of losing to me? In front of Oniai-chan? Kuro asked with a bit of smugness in her voice. Being a little furious after hearing Kuro's tone, Emiya felt like not backing down. I won't lose to you, she said while pointing at her. Kuro smiled. How about you, Miyu? Saitonai? Surprisingly, Miyu and Saitonai got competitive too. I won't lose to you, Kuro, Miyu said. Me too, Saitonai said. Well then, let the match begin then. Soon, Emiya, Kuro, Miyu, and Saitonai then went back to where Irisville and Kuritsugu were and immediately grabbed the plastic shovels and buckets they brought along and immediately started making sandcastles. Back to the present. Wow. It seems Emiya hasn't changed when it comes to competition, Shirou said. You can say that again. It's been a while since I've seen Emiya fired up over something, Emiya said. Yeah. Emiya Alter said. It has been a few minutes since Kuro's declaration and the competition was heating up. Right now, Emiya, Kuro, Miyu, and Saitonai were making sandcastles of great proportions. Not only that, but they were also decorating them as well. As they were building their sandcastles, they had one thought in mind. This battle is one I cannot lose, they all thought as they continued building their sandcastles. Meanwhile, Irisville and Kiritsugu were watching the match between the girls. Oh my! Seems like Ili-chan, Kuro-chan, Miyu-chan, and Saitonai-chan seems to be fired up, aren't they? Yeah. Kiritsugu replied. Wonder what they're up to. Eventually, Ilya, Kuro, Miyu, and Saitonai were done making their sandcastles. Alright. We're done now. Great. Which now leaves one question, who's going to check them to see which one is the best one? Good point. We can't judge it all by ourselves, and Mama wouldn't care which one is better and would give the same vote to all of them. That's true. So who's going to judge them? Ilya and her counterparts along with Miyu were complimenting the issue and were thinking of a solution to their problem. As they were thinking, they thought of a solution to their problems. Oniai-chan, they all thought. Soon, Ilya, her counterparts, and Miyu went up to where Shirou, Emiya, and Emiya altar were. What is it, everyone? Shirou asked. Oniai-chan, can you judge our sandcastles to see which one is better? Ilya asked. Huh? Me? Yeah. And that includes you too as well, Kuro said to Emiya and Emiya altar. Us as well? Emiya asked. Yeah. Why? Emiya altar asked. Well, since you two are also Oniai-chan from other timelines, that means we include you two in this as well. I see. Anyways, can all you help us? Shirou looked at Emiya and Emiya altar, and after a few minutes of silence, they nodded. Fine. We'll do it, Emiya said. Yes. Follow me, Oniai-chan. Ilya, her counterparts, and Miyu exclaimed in excitement. Shirou, Emiya, and Emiya altar followed Ilya, her counterparts, and Miyu to where their sandcastles were. As they did, they were shocked with what they just made. Ilya's sandcastle was a recreation of her house. Kuro's sandcastle was a recreation of the Einsborn castle. Miyu's sandcastle was a recreation of the Emiya residence. And Saitonai's sandcastle was a recreation of Chaldea. Wow. They did pretty well with their sandcastles. Shirou, Emiya, and Emiya altar thought. It was then that they inspected them carefully. As they inspected them, they were in awe with how similar each of their sandcastles looked to the source of object. Eventually, they were done with the inspection. Well, who won? Ilya asked. Shirou took a deep breath before saying his answer. Everyone wins. Ilya, her counterparts, and Miyu were surprised by Shirou's answer. What? Why? Well, to be honest, all of your works are amazing in their own way. So it's going to be hard to judge them. And plus, all of you did an amazing job, because I can sense the amount of hard work all of you made into your sandcastles. Yeah. So, can all of you accept our judgment? For a moment, everyone was silent for a moment, and Shirou and his counterparts were worried if they made them mad. Then, Ilya said something. Well, if Oniai-chan asked, then I agree with your decision. As do I, Kuro said. Me too, Miyu said. Me too, Saitonai said. Shirou let out a sigh as everything was settled. Well, at least things ended on a good note. However, it was then that they heard the waves of the beach splashing onto something. As they turned around, Ilya, her counterparts, and Miyu were in dismay of what just happened. The waves just crashed into their sandcastles, ruining them. Our sandcastles, they exclaimed in horror. Shirou, how's the view from here? Beautiful, isn't it? Astria bragged from the front deck of the luxury yacht as she pressed her body up against Shirou's side. Yeah. The sea does look beautiful from here, Shirou replied as he looked at the sea. Great. Glad that you like it, Astria said as she held her body closer to Shirou, making him blush a little bit. Right now, Shirou and Astria were on a yacht that Astria won from a lottery she did earlier. What happened was that earlier, Astria was walking through town looking for something interesting. As she did, she happened to come upon a lottery. At first, she only entered in the lottery because she was bored and thought it could kill some of her time. During the lottery, she won first prize. And the first prize was a day on a luxury yacht with a person of their choosing. That immediately got Astria excited as she realized she can use this opportunity to spend more time with Shirou and have a whole day with him. Immediately, Astria ran back to the resort, found Shirou, and asked him for a day on a yacht with her. And he accepted it, much to Astria's joy. To make matters even better for her, she managed to get a reaction out from Ishtar and her counterpart when she told them about her prize. It angered them dearly and made them jealous. Especially when she started dragging Shirou away from them. Which brings Shirou to his current situation right now. Him and Astria alone together on a private yacht, although a rental one. A whole day on a private yacht with Shirou, this is probably the best day ever. Especially since we're alone together without anyone bothering us. Take that, Ishtar, you useless goddess. I now have the advantage now. Luvia, are you okay? Your face is quite red, Shirou asked, snapping her out of her thoughts. Oh. It's nothing, Shirou, she replied while giving Shirou some space. Oh dear. I nearly made myself a fool in front of Shirou. Calm down, me, do not embarrass yourself when you're in Shirou's presence. Luvia? Are you sure that you are okay? Why yeah. It's probably because of the heat that's over us right now. I see. Do you want a drink? Why yes. Astria replied excitedly. Shirou then went to the back of the yacht to grab a few drinks from a cooler box he brought over. He then picked up 2 cans of juice from the cooler box and went back to give one of them to Astria. Here. Thanks, Shirou, Astria said as she took one of the cans from Shirou. Shirou smiled. No problem, Luvia. Luvia blushed at the sight of Shirou's smile and quickly opened the can. As she did, she quickly drank the contents of the can, the taste of the juice and the coldness calming her down. She then stopped drinking and sat on the recliner chair that was included in the yacht. Shirou then did the same as well. As time passed, Shirou and Astria were basking in the sunlight on the yacht, looking at the blue sky in front of them. Nice weather today, isn't it, Shirou? Astria suddenly said. Yeah. Today's weather seems nice, Luvia. The sun's bright, there are no clouds in the sky, and we have a nice breeze here, Shirou replied. You're right, Shirou, Astria said with a smile. And that useless goddess isn't here to ruin it all. She muttered. HM? Did you say something, Luvia? Shirou asked. Oh. It's nothing. Astria replied quickly. I see. Shirou and Astria continued cloud-gazing on the yacht. As they were watching at the sky, Astria suddenly had an idea implanted into her head. Hey Shirou. What is it, Luvia? Do you want to go swimming? Sure. Why not? Astria let out a smile. Great. Let's go then. She then got out of her seat and went towards the end of the yacht, which was the entrance to the yacht itself. Astria then jumped into the water. Well? What are you waiting for, Shirou? Astria asked. Shirou nodded and followed her into the water as well. Soon, Shirou started swimming with Astria watching him. As Shirou was swimming, Astria was in awe over how she thought how graceful Shirou's swimming was. Wow. Shirou's swimming looks graceful. Even during our time in the clock tower, I have never seen Shirou swim before. Well, to be fair, he didn't have any time doing this, and the clock tower doesn't have a pool. Luvia? Are you okay? Shirou asked while stopping swimming for a moment. HM? Oh, yeah, Astria replied. Astria then started to swim as well. As she did, she was swimming gracefully within the waters nearby the yacht, not far where Shirou was. Eventually, both Shirou and Astria were tired of swimming and decided to head back up to the yacht. Hey Shirou, let's take a break, shall we? Good idea, Shirou replied. However, it was then that Shirou noticed something. And it was lurking in the waters. Shirou? Shirou then quickly grabbed one of Astria's arms and moved her behind him. Shirou? What's going on? Luvia, no matter what happens, stay behind me. Astria blushed at what Shirou said. What? Just do it. Astria nodded and stayed behind Shirou. Shirou then stayed in front of her, waiting for the thing that was lurking in the water to appear itself. A few seconds later, a shark suddenly appeared in front of the two. Shirou then traced a sword and in an instant, sliced the shark in half, killing it instantly. Shirou let out a small sigh as the pieces of the shark fell into the water. Luvia, the danger is now over. Astria didn't say anything. Luvia? Are you okay? Shirou asked as he pressed one of his hands to her forehead, making her face go red with a giant blush. In an instant, Astria passed out from seeing Shirou saving her and touching her. Luvia? This outfit would look great on our preacher, don't you think? Saber Nero asked to her counterparts. Yes. This outfit would look great on him as well. Castor Nero replied in agreement as she brought out another suit for Shirou to wear. Agreed. And this outfit would look great on him as well. Bride Nero exclaimed in excitement as she was holding a fancy outfit for Shirou to wear. Meanwhile, Shirou was in the dressing room, waiting for what outfit the Neros had brought over for him to wear. As he was waiting, his mind went over to the events that brought him up to this point. Master, just what are you up to? A few hours ago. Ritsuko was huffing as he was trying to catch some breath from the running he was doing. Where are you, Shirou? He thought as he was trying to find Shirou in the hotel resort he was in. He then restored his breath and continued finding him. Eventually, Ritsuka found Shirou in the lobby. Shirou, he called out, grabbing Shirou's attention. HM? Oh, master. What seems to be the problem? Shirou asked. Ritsuka didn't say anything, but came up to Shirou immediately. Master? In an instant, Ritsuka grabbed one of Shirou's arms and started dragging him across the lobby and headed towards the stairs. Master? What's going on? Shirou asked, not expecting this from Ritsuka. I'll explain everything later. For now, just let me take you. Ritsuka replied as he continued dragging him, gathering the attention of anyone passing by. Eventually, they arrived at the room Ritsuka was staying at. He then unlocked the door and went inside along with Shirou. As they went inside, Shirou was surprised with what was inside of Ritsuka's room. Because inside the room was Nero and her counterparts. And Nero? Shirou said in surprise. Umu. Glad to meet you here, my creator. Saber Nero said. Umu. Thank you, master, for bringing him here. Castor Nero said. Umu. Now we can start our day together. Bride Nero said. Shirou then looked at the scene in confusion and then turned to Ritsuka for answers. Master, what's going on? Why are Nero and her counterparts doing here in your room? Well, here's the thing, Shirou. Nero and her counterparts wanted to spend time with you, so they asked me to bring you here. I see. But was it really necessary to drag me here? Well, I had to. Or else they'll say they'll get angry and will sit out of battle. Ritsuko muttered. Is that so? Why yeah. Anyways, can you spend a day with them? Well, I can, but dash. Great. Now if you will excuse me, Ritsuko was about to say, but was cut off from Nero and her counterparts, and they were getting close to Shirou. A date. A date. This is like a dream come true, Umu. Saber Nero said. Indeed. A private date with our praetor. Just like a honeymoon, Umu. Bride Nero said. Exactly. Now let us leave now, my praetor. Caster Nero said. Nero and her counterparts then left the room with Shirou, leaving Ritsuko alone in his room. Ritsuko sighed at the situation he just had brought Shirou over into. Oh boy. Back to the present. Afterwards, Shirou along with Nero and her counterparts went for a day out in town. They ate at a fancy restaurant, went to many local landmarks, and went shopping. Shirou let out a soft sigh his mind as he was waiting for what outfit Nero and her counterparts have for him to wear. Right now, he and Nero and her counterparts were in a high-quality fashion store. As he was waiting, he heard a knock from the door. HM? What is it? He asked as he opened the door. My praetor. Try this outfit next. Saber Nero said as she handed him a few clothes. Thanks, Shirou replied as he grabbed the suit. He then closed the door behind him and looked at the clothes. The clothes that Saber Nero gave him were blue jeans, a black tee, a black bomber jacket, and white sneakers. Shirou then put the clothes on. Well? How are they, my praetor? They fit fine. Excellent. Can we take a look? Well, okay. Shirou then opened the door, letting Nero and her counterparts see the progress of their work. How do I look? Saber Nero smiled. You look amazing, my praetor. Umu. As expected from my Saber counterpart. Caster Nero said. Yes. Her taste in fashion is like ours. Graceful and amazing. Bride Nero said. Well, glad that you like it, Shirou replied. Great. Now try these clothes on. Caster Nero said as she handed him some clothes. As well as these too. Bride Nero said as she handed him some clothes as well. Shirou then grabbed the clothes Caster Nero and Bride Nero handed him and closed the door to the dressing room. As he did, he then looked at the clothes Caster Nero gave him. The clothes Caster Nero gave him were black jeans, a white crew neck tee, a black field jacket, and black boots. The clothes Bride Nero gave him were a light blue washed denim, a white crew neck tee, and white sneakers. Shirou then wore Caster Nero's outfit first and showed them to Nero and her counterparts. Well? Caster Nero smiled at the outfit she gave to Shirou. Umu. It looks amazing on you. Yes. It does. Bride Nero said. Umu. The clothes match with you, my praetor. Saber Nero said. Okay then. Shirou then went back into the changing room and changed his clothes to the ones Bride Nero gave him. After a few minutes of changing clothes, Shirou then appeared in front of Nero and her counterparts, wearing the outfit Bride Nero gave him. As Nero and her counterparts saw the outfit Shirou was wearing, they were in awe of how good he looked. Wow. That looks amazing on you. Bride Nero said. Indeed. The colors match you. Saber Nero said. Umu. You look so handsome with them. Caster Nero said. I see. Well then, are we done here? Shirou asked. Nope. We still have more outfits for you to wear, my praetor. Nero and her counterparts said. Shirou sighed. This was going to be a long day. Jean Dark Altar, are we done with this yet? Nope. We still got a few more drawings to finish by tomorrow. I need a lot of drawings for this year's Comiket. Now just stand there and pose, Jean Dark Alter replied. Shirou let out a small sigh as he continued posing for Jean Dark Alter. As you wish. Good. Jean Dark Alter then continued working on her digital tablet. As she drew, Shirou let out a small sigh as he continued posing for her. Wow. I never knew Jean Dark was knowledgeable in this. In fact, I didn't know that she was able to do this or have this as a hobby. Shirou thought. Hey. Don't move, Jean Dark Alter reminded him. Right now, Shirou was posing for Jean Dark Alter because she needed someone to pose for her drawings she plans to bring to this year's Comiket. The pose Shirou was doing was a pose like how a samurai was about to draw her sword to perform batajutsu. And why out of all the other servants in Chaldea did she happen to choose Emiya Shirou as the subject of her drawings? Simple. 1. He was well known around Chaldea, which meant he was popular. 2. He is a nice guy. And 3. He happened to be nearby her at the time. A few hours have passed since Shirou was doing the posing for Jean Dark Alter's drawing. Eventually, she was done with the drawing. Okay, now to print it out, she thought as she then let the printer print out a copy of it. Well, how did the drawing turn out? Shirou asked. Jean Dark Alter let out a sigh of relief with proudness in it as the drawing she drew turned out to be exactly how she wanted it to be. It's excellent. Now all I need to do is to print out multiple copies and by morning, we'll have multiple copies to bring over to Comiket. I see. Is that everything that you need to do for today? Nope. I think we're good for today, Jean Dark Alter replied. Anyways, can you help me carry the boxes tomorrow when you come with me to Comiket? Eh? I have to. Shirou asked as he was surprised. Well duh. You did help me in this after all, so I figure that you deserve some credit for this. You should be grateful, you know, I even put your name on the drawing as well. Jean Dark Alter said as she held up the finished picture in front of Shirou. Shirou then looked at the picture and as shown, his name was there as well. Well. Did not expect that. It was then that there was a knock on the door to Jean Dark Alter's room. Jean Dark Alter then opened the door to see who it was. In front of her was her non-altered counterpart and her Santa Lily counterpart, Jean Dark and Jean Dark Alter Santa Lily. Hello. How have you been doing, my little sister? Jean Dark said cheerfully. TCH fine, I guess. Jean Dark Alter replied. I see. Are you done with your activity you were doing with Shirou? Yeah. Great. Hope you have fun with your new friend here. Jean Dark Alter blushed. He's not my friend. Anyways, can you leave now? Jean Dark ignored what her altered counterpart said and turned to Shirou. Hey Shirou. Thank you for helping my younger sister for this. You know, she had a hard time thinking of ideas for this year's event. Hey. Don't say anything unnecessary. Also, thanks for helping my Santa Lily for finishing her summer homework. Yeah. Thank you, Shirou-san. Jean Dark Alter Santa Lily said. Okay. Can you leave now? Jean Dark Alter yelled, not wanting to hear any more. Alright then. Have fun with Shirou, my little sister. Jean Dark said cheerfully as she left. Jean Dark Alter then quickly shut the door. She then turned to Shirou with a menacing look on her face. Don't say anything. She muttered. Shirou nodded. The next day. Wow. There is a lot of people here. Shirou said as he was in awe of the amount of people at Comiket. Yeah. This is what happens every year when Comiket comes. Jean Dark Alter replied. Shirou and Jean Dark Alter were at the location of this year's Comiket, waiting behind a table filled with copies of Jean Dark Alter's drawings. Right now, Shirou and Jean Dark Alter were done setting up their booth area and were waiting for people to come over to see Jean Dark's artwork. With some help from Shirou, of course. "Hey there, Jean Dark Alter," a voice said. Shirou and Jean Dark Alter turned to see who the voice was. As shown, it was Blackbeard wearing his usual outfit. "HM? Oh, hey Blackbeard." "Blackbeard? Wait, Blackbeard is here?" Shirou thought. "So, what did you create this year?" "Oh. Just an art book along with a few doujinshis." "I see," Blackbeard said before he turned his attention to Shirou. "Ah, excuse me for not introducing myself earlier. My name is Blackbeard. It is a pleasure meeting you, Emiya Shirou." "Eh? Ah, it's a pleasure to meet you too," Shirou replied as he bowed in front of Blackbeard. Blackbeard then bowed as well for curtsy. "So, what are you doing here?" "Well, Jean Dark Alter told me to come here since I helped her with her work." Blackbeard was surprised. "Really?" "Yeah. I see. What did Shirou help you with, Jean Dark Alter?" "Take a look in the art book and you'll see." "But first, you must pay first," Jean Dark Alter replied. Blackbeard then paid Jean Dark Alter and bought a copy of the art book and went through the pages inside the fan book. As he did, he saw one page that shocked him. It was the drawing of Emiya Shirou in the Bata-jutsu stance, and it was in high quality. Blackbeard couldn't let his eyes move from the page as the drawing itself in his eyes was perfection. Jean Dark Alter, this artwork of Emiya Shirou, it's beyond perfection. The pose, the face, everything about him looks amazing. In fact, I'll buy another one, he exclaimed as he placed more money on the table. Jean Dark Alter smirked. "Pleasure doing business with you, Blackbeard." "No problem. Now if you will excuse me, there are more doujinshis I need to search for," he said as he left quickly. After Blackbeard left, Shirou was in a state of silence and shock. "Surprised?" Jean Dark Alter asked, snapping Shirou out of his shock. "Why yeah. I never knew that Blackbeard is a otaku." Shirou replied. "Yeah. Well, you'll get used to it." I never seen Blackbeard so excited before," a new voice said. Shirou and Jean Dark Alter quickly turned to see where the new voice came from. It was Osakabeheim. "Osakabeheim?" Shirou asked. "Ah. Shirou-san. Nice to meet you again," Osakabeheim said with a smile on her face. "Yeah. Nice to meet you too. What are you doing here?" Shirou asked. "Me? I'm here at Comiket as a creator too. Me, Jean Dark Alter, and Blackie come here every year, you know." "I see. Yeah. Anyways, why are you here, Shirou-san?" "Well, he's here because he assisted me in one of my works," Jean Dark Alter replied. "Really? Which one?" Osakabeheim asked. "That one," Jean Dark Alter replied as she pointed at the stack of art books. "But you need to pay up first." In her curiosity, Osakabeheim then paid Jean Dark Alter, took one of the copies of the art book, and looked at the pages. It was then that she stumbled upon the drawing of Emiya Shirou in the Bata-jutsu stance. And it looked glorious to her. Jean Dark Alter, did you draw this?" she stuttered. "Yeah. And did Shirou help you?" Jean Dark Alter let out a smug grin. "Yeah. He did the posing for me. Quite impressive if I have to say myself." "Impressive? This is perfect. Everything about this drawing the just perfect," Osakabeheim said in excitement. In fact, I'll buy 2 more of them, she exclaimed as he dropped more money onto the table. Jean Dark Alter smiled. With pleasure. Thanks. Now if you will excuse me, I need to find that Otome game someone is selling. Osakabeheim then left in a hurry. Wow. I never seen Osakabeheim like this before, Shirou said. Yeah. Anyways, help me out a bit. We got customers here, Jean Dark Alter said. Soon, people started to line up in front of the table, asking for the art book. Due to the amount of attention it received, because of Blackbeard and Osakabeheim, a lot of people wanted to buy the art book. Hey Shirou, bring out more of the art books. Yes. Shirou then brought out more of the art books. As time passed, people bought more books and Jean Dark Alter kept earning money. It was then that a certain servant came over. Shirou. Shirou realized this tone and tuned around to see Arturia Alter in her Shinjuku outfit. And she does not look happy. Alter? Jean Dark Alter, what is the mean of this? Jean Dark Alter let out a smirk. Well, he's been helping me here. Is there a problem? Yes. You're taking too much time from him. Arturia Alter then grabs one of Shirou's arms and procked to take him. My turn. Hey. He's still working here. Jean Dark Alter said as she grabbed Shirou's other arm. Not wanting to back down, both of them proceeded to grab him on both sides, pulling both of his arms. Let him go. No, you let him go. Meanwhile, Shirou was in pain from both of his arms being pulled by the alters. It hurts. It also didn't help that everyone at Comiket was also looking at him with jealousy in their eyes. Shirou was walking through the street in the night, admiring the bright lights the nearby was giving off in the night sky. Wow, the city looks pretty when it's nighttime. It looks like a carnival over there. As he continued walking, it was then that he bumped into certain people. Okita? Musashi? Shiro-san? Shiro-kun? Both Okita and Musashi stopped their running for a moment. As they did, Okita asked Shirou a question. Shiro-san. Have you seen my altered counterpart for a moment? No, I haven't seen her. Why? Well, a few minutes ago. Okita and Okita Alter were in their room, watching television in the comfort of their hotel room. What's on television right now is boring. Isn't there anything that is interesting on right now? Okita Alter thought as she flipped through channel to channel. As she was flipping through the channels, she suddenly stopped at one channel upon seeing what was going on in the channel. The channel that she stopped on was a channel showing a fireworks display. The fireworks that were being lit up in channel were showing explosions of various designs. Some were explosions of simple designs, while others were explosions of intricate designs. Okita Alter was in awe of the fireworks. Wow! Those explosions look colorful and pretty. What are you looking at, Alter me? Okita asked, grabbing Okita Alter's attention. This, Okita Alter replied as she pointed at the television screen. Okita then looked at the television to see what was making her altered counterpart so interested. As she did, like her altered counterpart, she was interested in the fireworks as well. Wow! Those fireworks are pretty. Okita said as she was in awe of how pretty the fireworks were. MMH. Okita Alter said as she continued to stare at the fireworks. As time passed, the television program showing the fireworks has ended, and yet Okita Alter was still in thought. Are you okay, my alter self? Okita asked, worried about her altered counterpart's behavior. Yeah. It's just that, I want to play with fireworks now, Okita Alter replied. Okita was surprised. Really? Yeah. Do you want to join me? Sorry, but I don't think we can. In fact, I don't think there are any here. Is that so? Yeah. Silence occurred between the two. Then I'll find some around here, Okita Alter said before she left the room. Realizing what she just did, Okita went after her altered counterpart. Hey! Come back here. Then Okita and her alter were chasing each other, with Okita Alter trying to find fireworks to play with. It was that Okita ended up bumping into a certain servant. Ouch! Ow! Both Okita and the servant rubbed each other's heads as they were easing the pain of the head bump. As they did, they saw who they bumped into. Musashi-san? Eh? Okita-chan? What are you doing here? Eh? Have you seen my altered counterpart somewhere? Her? Earlier, I did see her running out of the entrance and headed towards the nearby town. Why? Well, she said she's trying to find fireworks and she thinks there are some in the nearby town. Anyways, I need to find her. Can you help me? Okita asked. Sure. Anything for one of my friends. Musashi replied. Great. Anyways, let's go. Back to the present. And that's why, Okita said. So, let me guess this straight here. The reason why you two are running around here is to find Okita Alter before she tries to do something? Shirou asked. Yes, Musashi replied. Anyways, can you help us? Shirou thought about what Musashi said and replied, sure. Great. Help me find her then. Okita replied quickly before she left along with Musashi. Shirou soon quickly followed her. As he did, they then were searching the entire town to see where Okita Alter was. However, they couldn't find her. Geez, where's my altered counterpart? Okita huffed with breath. Yeah, we looked all over the place, and we can't find her. Musashi replied while taking a few breaths. I agree. Shirou said. What are all of you doing here? A familiar voice said. Shirou, Okita, and Musashi quickly turned to the source of the familiar voice. As they did, they realized who it was. It was Okita Alter, and she was holding 2 plastic bags in her hands. Okita Alter? Hi Shirou-san. My altered self, what are in those bags? Okita asked fearfully. Oh, these? Fireworks. Everyone was surprised with what Okita Alter has in her hands. Fireworks? Where did you get those? Musashi asked. From that store over there? Okita Alter said as she pointed to a nearby store. Shirou, Okita, and Musashi then looked at the store where Okita Alter got the fireworks. As they did, they realized something. The store that was selling the fireworks happened to be at the same area where Okita and Musashi bumped into Shirou. All 3 of them were agape over how they overlooked that. Anyways, do all of you want to light off some fireworks? Okita Alter asked innocently. A few minutes later, Shirou looked at the tiny sparkler in his hand as he held it. Right now, Shirou, Okita Alter, and Musashi were at the nearby beach playing with the fireworks Okita Alter bought earlier. It was a relief for them that the fireworks Okita Alter bought were ones that weren't harmful and were rather kid-sized ones. While it did hamper Okita's Alter mood a little bit, she still liked the fireworks. Shirou-san? Is this alright? Okita asked as she was pointing at a nearby firework she set up earlier. Yeah. That should be okay. Now just light it up. Okita then nodded and lit the string connecting to the firework. As the fire reached to the firework went up into the sky, exploding into a one-color design of particles. Wow, it's beautiful, Okita said as she saw the explosion. Shirou-san, can I light up mine too? Okita Alter asked. Sure. Okita Alter then lit up her firework. Soon, the firework went into the sky and exploded in a blue star design. Pretty, she said as she looked at the firework. So that's what a firework looks like, Musashi thought as she looked at the fireworks in the sky. Okay, it's my turn now, she exclaimed excitedly as she lit up her firework. As she did, the fuse then reached the firework, lighting it up. Soon, it went up to the sky and blew up, creating a yellow pattern of particles. Musashi was in awe of the firework that lit up. Wow! Shirou then dropped the sizzler he was carrying into a bucket of water and looked at the fireworks that were in the sky. Fireworks, huh? It's been a long time since I've seen those. Brings back so many memories with my old man. Shirou-kun, aren't you going to light up your firework as well? Musashi asked, snapping him out of his thoughts. Oh, yeah. Shirou then grabbed a random firework from the bag Okita Alter brought over, placed it on the ground, and lit it. Eventually, the firework then launched itself into the sky, exploding into a red design of particles. Shirou looked at the firework exploding in the sky with a smile on his face. You like fireworks, don't you, Shirou-san? Okita asked. Yeah. Reminds me of the times I used to spend with my old man in the summer. Does he like watching the fireworks too? Okita Alter asked. Yeah. In fact, this was one of his favorite things to do in the summer. Is that so? Yeah. Well then, want to shoot up more fireworks? Musashi asked. Well, do you want to? Yes. Okita Alter and Musashi said, followed up by a sigh from Okita. And the group of servants continued lighting up fireworks and watching the explode in the night sky. As they were watching, Shirou remembered that he only had one more day of vacation left. After this day is over, I will only have one day left. Then it's back to Chaldea with Master and the others. Wonder how my last day will turn out. Little did Shirou know that his last day was not be a normal day.